What are the risks of building your core product on a stack that you cannot scale?
That's definitely something that we saw with a lot of clients in the past. That especially if you just getting started with an MVP, you might not even know how many users you will have if it works. Of course, you will not pay or will not want to invest into a big platform that is already built on a scalable foundation. Um, but it definitely poses, of course, a lot of risks, especially if you don't change quickly enough and adapt quickly enough to something more scalable. Then, of course, maybe you have too many users on the platform, your platform goes down, no one can buy anything anymore. So we definitely leave, of course, like a bad impression on the users. So when you see that your user number and the load on your system increases and slowly starts to impact performance, then it's time to switch and to change to a more scalable stack.
But in your opinion, is it worth investing in a scalable system at the very beginning?
If you're not sure what will happen, and of course, most startups or most early ventures don't are not sure if it actually happens, if everything will work out with your MVP. Then it definitely makes sense to build on something smaller and something easier that you don't need, of course, to spend a lot of time and resources building. As I said, just make sure that you do the switch at the right time.
Understood. But pivoting a little bit to teams that build things internally. Why do custom tools built by internal teams often fail to deliver value?
I think the issue is that internal teams often are busy with other things. So, I mean, of course, same with our teams. So we have a lot of client projects, a lot of projects that are very important to do. And then the internal tools and the internal projects of like smaller improvements, data analysis, and other things, they fall short because they usually are not as important as others. And so we might even neglect things like actual user research, discovery workshops to really find out what the internal tool should do and how it can really help the organization move forward. And then this tied together with lack of resources because of other more important projects, will just delay, of course, the process of building an internal tool, but then will also not make it as useful as it should be.
Understood. And finally, what happens? Have you witnessed it, or do you have a theory about what happens when a company grows way faster than its software can handle?
I mean, there will definitely be a lot of course, user complaints, maybe lost sales, for example, because as I said, when your platform goes down and you can't handle the scale anymore, and it like crashes catastrophically, then that's of course a big problem for you as the company and as the business. Of course, some companies might not be affected too much by that, depending on how heavily reliant they are, but it will definitely put a lot of stress on you and your team to try to somehow find the correct solutions, and probably will need to find a lot of workarounds to make it work even with this higher load.
Adding on to this and just like closing out this topic, what are maybe your three biggest indicators, the earliest signs you can think of that a company is heading towards the company is growing way faster than the software?
I think there are of course like the obvious signs of your performance on the website is very slow, or there are a lot of issues and bugs that will be found in the software. But especially, I mean, of course, something that the actual customer will probably not see, but that you do a lot of workarounds. Like you do a lot of workarounds on the back end. You try to somehow optimize processes, but by just attaching more things on top of it instead of actually solving the underlying problem, which is your platform either can't handle the scale or can't handle the complexity of the actual business that you're doing. So I think these are like the major things you would see, especially internally. So I mean, things like technical debt increasing, for example, or that you can't release as often anymore because you have so many problems actually deploying new updates. So these are indicators that you might see.
All right. Thank you.